Hi everyone, I'm Bill Holcomb, and in today's beginner-friendly watercolor tutorial, I'll be explaining how to paint this simple little beach landscape. There's very minimal sketching involved and only a few simple techniques required. So if you are short on time, this one's a great one to practice. So let's start with the sketch. So for the pencil sketch, I'm using something like a HB grade softish pencil. And as you know from the materials listing, this is Arch's 300-pound rough paper. We've got a main headland there and then a smaller area penciled in. And the flat areas where the ocean would come in that we use for the ruler. Then for painting, we've got some clear water in different parts of the sky. And then I'm mixing up some Winsor Blue for the top of the sky area to start with, using my number 12 brush. I'm avoiding some of the white areas that I want for white fluffy clouds and to show variety. We're trying to achieve a more stormy sky on this occasion. So there'll be quite a bit of variety involved, lights and darks and so forth. The good thing about laying down some water here and there to start with, the clear water, is that I could then paint up to those areas and let the blue and dark grey colours fuse in, thus leaving the white fluffy cloud areas. And occasionally, as you'll see me doing now, I will soften the edges. Sometimes you purposefully leave them as hard edges, but in the main, I prefer them to be fused, soft edges. I think it's more convincing. Then we've mixed up some Winsor Blue with Alizarin Crimson. And now we're doing some dark clouds. And I've changed to a flat brush, about a quarter size will do. You will hear me mention in my various tutorials, if you see them regularly, and especially if you've subscribed, you will see that I like to use flat brushes for control and making cloud shapes, and also when doing water, such as the ocean or lakes and rivers, etc. Less pigment is held on the brush because it is flat. It doesn't have a wide body like a round brush. And therefore you do have more control in that sense, even if you have to keep loading the brush more regularly. Where a lot of people get frustrated in painting transparent watercolor is they've either got far too much water on the brush, not enough liquid, far too much water, and it just runs away from them and it fuses into everything else. So this helps that measure of control very much. So I would highly recommend that you get used to using your flat brushes for things like this. I've only taped the paper around on this occasion so that it doesn't move when I'm doing the video work. Because it's 300-pound weight, it wasn't necessary to tape it down. And as I mentioned in other tutorials, my board is at a slope. It slopes from top down to the bottom of about 10-15 degrees to allow the pigment and washes to slowly creep down the paper from top to bottom in a uniform manner, to avoid pooling here and there and drying in one area, wet in another area, creating creep lag and so forth. So dry that off with the hairdryer, and as always, you see it's now lighter. Then we've got a green mixture going on, Winsor Blue, Winsor Yellow, and I'm resorting to a smaller brush now, something like a number 8 will do, whatever you have available. And as always, brush sizes, according to make, do vary tremendously. But at least you can see on the screen the size of the brush involved. There's a small headland there, almost like a sort of mini island really, because it's separate from the main headland that we're now painting in a stronger colour. It makes for an interesting landscape in the distance there. And this is very much a beach that's strongly affected by weather conditions out towards the ocean there, with very strong winds blowing in, coming in from the North Atlantic especially. And you can see that I laid down some color at the top, and then I gently fused it in as it slopes down. And then you can add some darker to the top and let that fuse in. I think that this is a beach scene that you will be able to tackle as either beginner or intermediate. Then we've got some Indian yellow and yellow ochre going on. And I should mention as well that I do like to use a brush that is dedicated to all my mixing. That way your painting brushes last longer, and if you clean off your mixing brush between dipping into the various colours, as much as you can remember, we all make mistakes, or we're in a rush, then your colours stay true in the pan. So I laid down some water on the beach area, and then that mixture of Indian yellow and yellow ochre is being applied. And off screen, I would have dipped into a little bit more of the yellow ochre, because the yellow ochre is not shown on this screen, nor is the Indian yellow. That's off screen. We're quite a long way through this one, about 2/3 through. At this point, you will have gathered that this beach is the same spelling as my family name. It's located on the North Shores of Norfolk in England. As a question, are there any places linked to your name or ancestry? Would be interesting to hear. If so, drop them in the comments. It would be very interesting to hear your stories. For the ocean, it's a slither at this stage. It's lightly indicated, coming in there from the left. And I'm using that flat brush again for control. And here and there, I break up lines and leave some of the underpainting showing through the light of the paper. And that gives an indication of a few little waves going on. And then for the sand dunes, we've got that mixture of Winsor yellow, and then I'm using some of what's in the pan to mix up a darker version, a sort of medium version of the green. And here and there, you will see me quickly dip into a little bit more pigment using the same brush, which I don't like to be in the habit of doing. I avoid it as much as I can. Try and keep those paints as clean as possible. Otherwise, you're forever spending time trying to clean them up again and losing more and more pigment. But as long as it's not done too often, you can get away with it a little bit. What they say, all rules meant to be broken, not smashed to pieces. Um, so I'm dropping in some of that darker green and blue color now for the sand dunes, so they're nicely fused together. Quite a long way through the painting. This might be one of the hardest parts for people to get that nice fused effect on the sand dunes. But practice with that, and do have spare pieces of paper available to you on the side to test your color mixings and also to practice. You might practice skies, or you might practice sand dunes or ocean waves, etc., etc. So for the beach, we've got a situation where the ocean has washed up, it's now receded, it's very much low tide. And then we've got lots of footprints, indentations on the sand where people, dogs, and everything have been walking upon the sand. And it makes it much more interesting and varied. Once again, you see using that flat brush for more measure of control and also to get more interesting shapes going on. And whilst that is wet, I'm dropping in some darker colors, letting them fuse together. Always having that kitchen roll tissue to hand so that I can take off any excess fluid from my paintbrush. And importantly, keep that measure of control. I think it's quite an effective painting. I've been here many times, as you might gather, with the family name. And it's a nice, very windswept beach and lots of wildlife, lots of bird colonies and so forth frequent this area. And then for extra interest, just add a few seagulls flying around there. Use a very small brush. I like to drop in an odd number rather than an even number. And here we are. That's the finished painting. I hope you have a go at this Holcomb Beach, and I look forward to seeing you next time.